You've probably heard about it, right? Intermittent fasting. It's a huge deal. But what happens when this really popular eating pattern meets the incredibly complex world of female hormones? Okay, let's dive into this fascinating story.
First things first, fasting isn't just some new health fad. This is something that's been around forever, deeply woven into cultures and spiritual traditions all across the globe.
And that brings us to the real heart of our question today. So, what's the deal when it comes to the female body? With its incredibly unique hormonal blueprint, how does it really react when we start messing with when we eat?
To get a handle on all this, we've got to take a step back and look at where fasting even comes from. Whether you're talking about ancient spiritual practices like Ramadan or the super modern wellness routines we see all over social media, fasting has, it's always been a part of the human story. It's a practice that's both ancient and, at the same time, incredibly current.
So why is everyone talking about intermittent fasting right now? Well, the science is pointing to some pretty powerful stuff. We're talking potential weight loss, your body getting better at handling insulin, just an all-around improved metabolic profile. It's easy to see why people are so interested, right?
But here's the thing. Do those benefits work the same way for everyone? To figure that out, we need to talk about something absolutely crucial. Our bodies. They're not just machines. They are incredible systems of interconnected rhythms.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. So, think about it. Our eating schedule. That's a big rhythm, right? But what happens when we change it? How does that shake up the other, much more sensitive clocks in our body? I'm talking specifically about the one running the entire female reproductive system.
And to even begin to answer that, we've got to do a quick dive into the absolute core of female physiology. Yep, the menstrual cycle. Okay, seriously, the best way to think about the menstrual cycle is like a perfectly timed hormonal orchestra. It's this complex system where every single hormone has to come in at the exact right moment. If just one, say the violin, is a beat late, the whole beautiful symphony can just fall apart.
So, this hormonal concert has three main acts. First, you've got the follicular phase. That's all the prep work. Then, boom, ovulation, the main event, when a mature egg is released. And finally, the luteal phase, where the body gets ready for a potential pregnancy. See? It's a really elegant, logical flow.
So who are the main musicians in this orchestra? Let's meet the key players. You've got FSH, and its job is to get those follicles growing. Then estrogen comes in to build up the uterine lining. That big surge of LH, that's the signal that triggers ovulation. And then progesterone takes over to prep the endometrium for implantation. Oh, and you can't forget testosterone. It's in there too, helping with libido and overall function. Every single one is absolutely essential.
All right, so we have fasting over here and this incredibly delicate hormonal orchestra over there. Now, let's connect the dots and see how they influence each other.
The bridge that connects them? It's our circadian rhythm. Think of it as your body's master clock, this internal 24-hour cycle. It's not just about when you feel sleepy. It's the conductor of that hormonal orchestra, telling each hormone when to play and how loudly. For the reproductive system, that timing has to be perfect.
And this is a great way to see the difference in action. With a typical eating schedule, your body gets these pretty consistent energy signals all day long. But with intermittent fasting, you're creating these big cycles. You have distinct periods of fasting and feeding. Your body's getting a totally different set of instructions.
So here's the bottom line. When you do intermittent fasting, you change the rhythm of metabolic hormones like insulin. And these hormones, they don't operate in their own little world. They talk directly to the command center for your reproductive hormones, a direct line from your brain to your ovaries. So by changing how you eat, you could be sending brand new, maybe even confusing signals to that command center.
Okay, let's pull back for a second and look at the bigger picture here. What does all of this really mean? I think the number one thing to remember from all of this is that the female body isn't just a bunch of separate parts working independently. No way. It is a dynamic, deeply interconnected system. So when you do something like fasting, you're not just affecting your metabolism in a neat little box. You're creating ripple effects that can travel all across your body, including to your reproductive system. And this point is it's so important. These hormones are not just about reproduction. Not even close. As the research points out, hormones like estrogen and progesterone are running the show for so many other things. Your mood, your energy, your physical performance. Keeping them in balance is key to just feeling good overall. And that really leaves us with a final, big question to chew on. As these health trends like intermittent fasting get more and more popular,
maybe it's time we start asking better questions. Are we really thinking about how these one-size-fits-all approaches apply to the incredible diversity of every single body out there?